In this video, I'm going to be answering 3 things. First, how much faster is MagSafe charging compared to standard 7.5 watt wireless Qi charging? Second, is MagSafe charging much slower than using a lightning cable? Spoiler alert, it is. And third, do you really have to buy Apple's new 20 watt USB Type-C charging brick, or can you use an older 18 watt that you might already have? And if you don't, how about a cheaper and much smaller third-party charger like the 20 watt Anker Nano, which by the way I love and I have linked down in the video description below. I also share 3 very weird things that I found when using my wattage meter with these chargers that I haven't heard anyone really mention. Let's start out by comparing 4 standard chargers so it's easy to see the differences before we throw in some variables. We have the 5 watt lightning that everybody has, a cheap 7.5 watt Qi charger that is very convenient because it's a stand, which I'll also link below. We have Apple's MagSafe charger with the 20 watt brick they recommend, and a 20 watt fast lightning charging cable. After 10 minutes of charging, the 5 watt got us to 8% charge. The 7.5 watt Qi actually charged 1% less at 7%. MagSafe surprisingly resulted in only 3% more at 10%, and the 20 watt lightning gave us a whopping 20% charge in just 10 minutes. To be honest, I was expecting the 15 watt MagSafe to be about twice as fast as 7.5 watt Qi charging instead of only 30% faster, which is only 2 percentage points higher than that slow 5 watt charger, but maybe it will speed up as we go on. 20 minutes in, 5 watt wired gained 6% charge, regular wireless charging gained 5%, and thankfully MagSafe stayed consistent with the first 10 minutes, gaining another 10% charge. 20 watt lightning also stayed consistent and gained another 20% for a total of 40% charge in just 20 minutes. This is where the first weird thing showed up when I used my wattage meter to test out Apple's new fast charging brick that's rated at 20 watts. As soon as I plugged in the meter, instead of showing 20 watts being pulled, it consistently showed 18 watts. I tested this multiple times with different cables and iPhones, and the results were the same. More on this and what it means in just a bit, but first let's go back to the charging speed comparison. 30 minutes into the test, we have 20% charge for the 5 watt wired, 18% for regular wireless charging, 30% for MagSafe, so hey, we're finally seeing a good difference with this fast wireless charger, and 58% using fast lightning charging. So as you see, even without the full 20 watts from the new charger, Apple still exceeded its advertised 50% in 30 minutes. Let's jump to the 40-minute mark where the slow chargers are maintaining a consistent pace, but the fast chargers are starting to slow down. Our 7.5 watt wireless charger is still 3% behind the slow 5 watt wired charger, which is really sad, and MagSafe is at 16% higher at 38%, but that is still 34% behind the fast lightning charging at 72%. And here's the scores after 50 minutes. As you can see, 5 watt wired and 7.5 watt wireless charging are staying super consistent so far at 6% charge per 10 minutes. MagSafe slowed down after its good start to about 8% per 10 minutes, and wired really slowed down now to gaining just 9%. Now for that nice round 1 hour mark. 5 watt wired is at a sad 39%, 7.5 watt wireless even worse at 36%, MagSafe with the 20 watt brick at 55%, and 20 watt wireless at 88%, which is enough juice for a whole day for many people. As you can see, MagSafe took twice as long to charge to 50% compared to the lightning charger. To speed up the test, I'm gonna jump to 15-minute increments now, but first let's quickly touch on that 20 watt fast lightning charger. As you can see, it started slowing down after the first 30 minutes, and it really slowed down after we hit 80%, gaining just 7% between 50 and 60 minutes instead of 20% each 10 minutes at the start. I was curious, how much does the wattage taper down with the chargers as the phones become more charged, so I tested them. The 5 watt lightning and the 7.5 watt wireless don't slow down at all. MagSafe does slow down a bit, but fast lightning charging tapers down like crazy. It starts out with 18 watt fast charging if you're using a 12 or a 12 Pro. By the way, my 11 Pro Max accepted the full 20 watt from this charger, and the 12s kept pulling 18 watts until the phone hits 50%, at which point they slowed down to 14 watts. This lasts until 70%, where it then slows down to 9-watt charging, but that only lasts until 80% charge, where we have another slowdown to just 5 watts charging for the remaining 20%. Let's get back to the charge test and finish it up. Going from 1 hour to 1:15, the 5-watt jumped by 9% to 48% total, 7.5-watt jumped by 8%, MagSafe increased by 11%, and Fast Lightning by just 4%. After an hour and a half, the slow chargers finally reached over 50% charge, and MagSafe hit 75% charge, while USB-C PD was slow charging to 96%. Another 15 minutes later, the USB-C Fast Lightning charger was finishing up while the others were trying to catch up. At the 2-hour mark, our 5-watt Lightning charger reached 74% and the 7.5-watt Qi wireless charger at 68%. MagSafe reached 90%, where it started to slow down even more. So how much more charge do you get after 2 hours with this fancy new $40 MagSafe charger and a brand new $20 brick compared to your super old slow 5-watt charger? Well, 16% more charge in 2 hours. Let's just say I was more than just a bit disappointed. I also want to say that this has been the most boring video to test, having to constantly charge these phones and even worse, discharge these phones, which is mind-numbingly boring just so I can recharge them again. So if you guys appreciate it, please hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos. And to save time, let's jump straight to the end result. MagSafe took 2 hours and 45 minutes to reach 100%, a whole hour longer than fast wireless charging, and only 15 minutes faster than using your old 5-watt charging brick. Comparing 15-watt MagSafe charging to a cheap charging stand, the difference was only 30 minutes for a full charge. So how is this even possible when MagSafe charges at 15 watts? Well, here's the thing, it doesn't. Apple says it can hit a peak of 15 watts if you use the 20-watt charging brick, which is true, but they don't say how long it stays there. In my test, MagSafe actually peaked over 16 watts, but that is only at the start. After that, it starts slowing down, where it reaches a charge of about 6 watts. Now this could be wrong, but my USB Type-C tester seems to be accurate based on other tests, and it lines up with our full results. The other question is, how is MagSafe charging faster at 6 watts compared to 7.5 watt standard Qi charging? Well, it could just be because of perfect alignment and a more efficient coil. The next question I had is, if MagSafe spends most of its charge charging well below 15 watts, do we really need that new 20-watt charging brick, or could we just use the older 18-watt one, or maybe a third-party alternative? I've seen a few tests show that other bricks don't hit the full wattage, but none of them tested Anker's new 20-watt Nano, which, unlike most, supports the latest USB-C PD protocols. After the first 10 minutes, Apple's 20-watt with MagSafe is just 1% above the other two chargers. When checking the wattage, it seems like the Anker needs more time to reach the full 16 watts compared to Apple's, but once it does, it actually stays there a little longer, as you can see by the 20-minute point, where Anker's brick is slightly ahead compared to the others. 30 minutes in, Apple's older 18-watt power adapter is just 1% behind the 20-watt, and Anker's is 2% ahead. The gap gets slightly wider after 40 minutes, with Anker's now being 5% ahead of Apple's 20-watt and 6% ahead of the 18-watt charger. And after 50 minutes, it reaches above 50%, a consistent 10% every 10 minutes compared to 8% for Apple's 20-watt and 7% for the 18-watt. This trend continues, so let's jump straight to 1 hour and 30 minutes, where Apple's advertised pairing is at 75%, the 18-watt brick is only 2% behind at 73%, and Anker achieves 83%. How is this possible if the Anker is rated for the same 20 watts and it's super tiny? Well, first off, it is not tapering down its wattage as fast as Apple's, and when it does, it's actually drawing 6.5 watts, whereas Apple's chargers are pulling 6 watts. Let's jump straight to 2 hours now, where the charging speeds are really slowing down, and Apple's bricks are at 89 and 90%, while Anker's is at 95%. 15 minutes later, the Anker is done, taking a total time of 2 hours and 15 minutes. Apple's chargers take much longer to finish off that last little bit. Their 20-watt brick takes 30 minutes longer than Anker's at 2 hours and 45 minutes, and the 18-watt brick takes an additional 15 minutes for a total time of 3 hours, the same exact time as slow 5-watt lightning charging. So we have our final results, and 15-watt MagSafe charging is way slower than we thought. Sure, if you want to top off a low battery, it's a little bit faster than your 5-watt old school brick, but you're way better off using a USB Type-C fast charger with a lightning cable. It is literally twice as fast. With that said, if you have an 18-watt charging brick, don't bother buying the 20-watt one to lightning charge your iPhone 12 or 12 Pro, since they seem to be limited to 18 watts anyways. I'm guessing that only the Pro Max will use the full 20 watts to allow its bigger battery to reach 50% in 30 minutes. For those of you wanting to use MagSafe, you might as well just use the 18-watt USB Type-C brick if you already have one, because the charging speed is barely different. But if you don't, or if you want the fastest MagSafe charging, buy an Anker Nano. It is very small and it keeps its wattage slightly higher and longer than Apple's. I'll link it down in the video description. Now no, this video is not sponsored by Anker, but I am trying to work out a deal with them since I already use and love their small USB Type-C chargers. And as a last note, if you're going to be buying an iPhone 12 mini, that won't accept the full 15 or 16 watt peak of the MagSafe charger. Apple is saying that is limited to 12 watts. Let me know your thoughts down below, and if you want to support our channel, pick up a super soft MaxTech premium shirt, hoodie, or a mask in the merch shelf or by using our link below. If you want to see how MagSafe charges other iPhones and Androids, I have a very interesting video right over there, and why not subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this one, which almost nobody is making. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Max, and I will see you in the next video.